Hi, my name is Mr. Heinrich. I'm your son or daughter's HVAC and plumbing teacher. I'm sorry that we couldn't meet in person, but hopefully this will be the next best thing. It's a 2-year course. First year focuses on plumbing, and the second year focuses more on HVAC. We use a NCCER curriculum, and in other states, that's actually what they use in their 4-year apprenticeship program. New York State's a little different, but regardless, the first part of the curriculum is the core every trade has to take. We'll also do the NCCR Plumbing 1. The books are broken into about 10 modules, and each module will be on something like specific. There'll be one module on DWV, so like drainage, waste, and ventilation, or there'll be another module on copper piping. We learn a lot from these books. We also do a lot of design work too. So in their first year, they'll actually be designing drainage, waste, and ventilation systems, which means sizing all the pipes. So if you had 2 or 3 bathrooms, what size? We also get into domestic water pipe sizing. If you had a house with 6 bathrooms and 2 kitchens, size cold water or hot water line would you need? And it's more actually based on the velocity that the water will be traveling in the pipes. So we use some specialized software for that as well. We also do gas pipe sizing and design. So different things like if you had a 250,000 BTU furnace and a 30,000 BTU gas range, what size pipe would you need? We'll also be using some software on that. Do OSHA 30, which is great. To work in New York City, you need OSHA 30, and to work on any large government or public type jobs, they're going to require OSHA 30. Academically, that's kind of what we'll be doing in the first year. We'll be doing PVC pipe fitting. So we'll be roughing in a bathroom for the drainage, waste, and ventilation. Then after that, we'll actually be installing the copper tubing for the domestic cold and hot water. And then we'll remove that copper tubing and we'll do an installation with PEX, which is a plastic pipe system. We'll also install fixtures. So we'll be installing bathtubs, toilets, sinks, things like that. And we do some gas pipe installations as well, kind of 2 different ways. One with a black pipe, which will be threading, and then the other with a corrugated stainless steel tubing product. The second year, the students come back. For the second year, we do the NCCR HVAC 1, and there's topics there like intro to heating, ductwork design, furnace parts, things like that. We also used some specialized software to do ductwork design, based also on velocity. We also do heat load calculations. If you had a building and it had a wall with a R value, which is the resistance to allow heat to be lost or gained, we would calculate the amount of BTU space on a design day. So at 0 degrees. So we do some engineering type stuff like that. Also, they get the opportunity to take their EPA 608 exams. Basically, that's in 3 different parts, and if they pass all 3 parts, they'll get a universal license, which is a federal license to be able to buy and handle refrigerants. And that's typically a barrier to entry for all the HVAC jobs. That's one thing that they're always looking for. There's a NORA bronze certification that they'll be able to receive, and that's on oil heating and oil burners. So basically, academically, that's what they're going to be doing for their second year. So in the second year, they do boiler installations, and they do them 2 different ways. One way by circulator, another way by a zone valve. After they do all their piping, they're also wire boilers. So we do a whole section on electrical theory. And then we also actually do a lot of wiring projects on plywood boards. And once they've grasped those skills, then we actually go and wire heating systems. We'll also be doing a little tin knocking, which is basically putting together the metal ductwork for a distributed air system. We also will be working on refrigeration systems. So we have trainers that they'll actually build. They'll install an evaporator, a condenser unit, they'll pipe everything together, they'll evacuate the air from it, and then they'll charge it with refrigerant and run it. And then after that, they'll actually recover all the refrigerant in a separate tank. We'll be doing that. We also go over gas-fired equipment and all the parts that are in a furnace. We also go over oil burner service and repair and all the parts to a burner, and then also mini-split air conditioning systems. If we have time at the end of the year, we'll do an installation with the mini-split systems.
We also have opportunities for them to do work-based learning. So basically, in their senior year, they could go up to 3 days and actually work in the field instead of coming to school. Or another thing they could do in addition to coming to school, we have a work-based learning coordinator that can find them the right work opportunities. They could also set up summer internships or apprenticeships. A lot of these are actually paid, which is great for the students. Also, work-based learning consists of field trips and guest speakers. So all throughout the year, I try to go on as many field trips as we possibly can and get as many guest speakers in as I possibly can. So some trips that we've gone on, we went to a water authority to like see how like they pump the water out of the ground. We went to a sewage waste treatment plant. We visited manufacturers and manufacturers representatives. So pretty much any opportunity I can to like expose these students to industry, I try to do. So career opportunities. That's kind of like what's exciting and kind of why we're all doing this. So a lot of people think when someone goes into plumbing and HVAC, they're going to be that stereotypical guy underneath the sink. We need those guys too, but with formal training, there's a lot more job opportunities available. So you could be a HVAC or plumbing apprentice or helper, but these are some other things that maybe haven't been thought about. There's a wholesale counter person, manufacturer's rep, inside sales and support, building automation technicians, mechanical contractor, maybe even like the owner of a business eventually. For manufacturers, a lot of times they'll break the country into like regions, and you could be a manager for a certain region. Like obviously after you gain a little more experience and maybe even have some college behind you. HVAC designer. So a lot of architectural firms will have somebody, a lot of the manufacturers reps will have somebody that will design systems. Take it even further, there's the potential to become like a professional engineer, like not right out of this course. As far as like lifetime goals and continuing on learning, it's definitely achievable. Master plumber, professional plumbing or HVAC estimator, project manager. Talk about like how do we get into these positions? So like how do we become a master plumber? How do we become a project manager? So they get that inside information. Or how do I become a journeyman in a union? How do I become an apprentice in a union? And we'll bring in people too, even from the union. So we have people that come from Local 200, talk to the kids. We actually visit a mechanical contractor, BP Mechanical, and they're a union HVAC contractor. So basically, getting these students on the inside track for success. We're career and technology education, and like many students will go right into the field and start working. But there's also the opportunities for post-secondary, college or another trade school. So that's another thing too, is like we'll go on field trips, visit different schools if we can. Different schools have different programs. Like pretty much every single state school has a HVAC program. The plumbing programs are a little bit more limited. For this presentation, I just did SUNY Canton, which is actually where I went to school. They have an apprentice training program. They have HVAC engineering. They have HVAC trade. Looking for a college that also has associates and bachelors, because the student may want to transition into a bachelor's. We actually try to go on a field trip to the Electrical Training Center, which is like a trade school. We visit Suffolk Community College. Obviously, the community college, they have some air conditioning programs, which is great. Student can go right out into the field and work, but there's also the potential for post-secondary education, whether it be additional trade school, an associate's degree, maybe even transition into a bachelor's program, and maybe even further into master's programs and professional engineering. So it's really like how far does that student want to go, and how far does that student want to take it? It's really up to them. So I threw up some websites here. So the NCCR has a website that goes over their curriculums. There's also a website for OSHA for the 30-hour, and a website for the EPA 608 exam, and a website for the NORA, which is the oil service certificate that they get. And my contact information, if anybody's trying to get a hold of me, I'm at K Heinrich, HEINRICH, at NAS, BOCES, BOCES.org, or my cell number is right there. You could text me, email me, call me, whatever you'd like. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank you about thinking about HVAC and plumbing. It's been a great career field for me, and I hope it'll be a great career field for anybody interested. Thank you.